All right, welcome back to Beyond the Line of Scrimmage, everybody. I'm your host, Minx, here, joined by my partner. What a week of football came in, delivered as usual. It's like Shohei Ohtani when he's got some betting to do. It came in and it hit. It hit.
It is Tuesday. Okay, so we kind of slumped a little bit this week. We want to talk a little bit about the Saturday games, Week 14 rivalry week, and then we want to talk a little bit about the rankings that just dropped, and then of course this Saturday being conference championship week. Still some massive implications on the line in terms of playoff seeding. We're gonna start where the day started, and we're gonna switch it up a little bit. We're going to Ann Arbor.
Bro threw a
Psych.
curveball on me.
It was in Columbus. But you wouldn't expect it because Michigan came in there and took over and showed out. Ohio State was a 20.5-point favorite. Okay. This was not supposed to be a game. You and I didn't think this would be a game. I think the story of the day, or the story of this game, would have to be line of scrimmage. My favorite part, Khalil Mullings, 32 carries, 116 yards. On the opposite team, Quinshon Judkins, 12 carries, 46 yards. The guy that we were hyping up to be this phenomenal back, could have been a Doak Walker Award winner this year, but he wasn't, obviously. He's sharing carries with Travion Henderson. The guy that we were hyping up in the preseason when he transferred from Ole Miss is the guy they give the rock 12 times, and he only gives you 46 yards. Obviously, not all of that is on the running back. Okay? And this is kind of where I want to go with this. Okay? So we're going to try something different. We can blame Ohio State all we want. Okay? But let's take a look at this box real quick. Okay? Box being outside, tackle to tackle. Okay, how many personnel are in the box? Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 linemen. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 on this DN that's far outside. Okay, what does that mean, Cody?
You've got yourselves either a worst case scenario, you got yourselves a one-on-one matchup on the offensive line.
Yep.
Or, guess what? Those two edge defenders, they drop back into coverage. One of them drops back into coverage. You got yourself a man advantage on the line.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Now, 55 is highlighted. Okay, that is Mason Graham. Okay, he's one of the best defensive tackles in college football. You'll see why right here. Nice swim move right there to get over top. Boom. Okay, that's fine. That didn't even have to do anything with the running game. Okay, just know that you scouted this team, and not only are you still allowing him to swim by you, you just can't block for shit in a pass block. Now, we're going to go to a run. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, possibly 6. Maybe 6 if you want to count this, but, I mean, at the end of the day, you probably could leave this guy unblocked, and this would still be your box right here. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 linemen. Okay, 2 tight ends right over here. It is basically 7 on 5 or 7 on 6. Either way, you have the advantage. What Chip Kelly trying to get here is he knows his quarterback is having a terrible day, and he knows that he has an advantage in the trenches, or so we thought. Once again, highlighted. What did he do? Keeps his man in front of him, stucks him away, and all of a sudden, Quinshon Judkins, you're stuffed for 2 yards. I'll just do one more here so we don't go on for all days, okay? Next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, technically 7 here because he's going to block or he's going to go somewhere else, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So either way, 1-on-1, 6 on 6. Watch Mason Graham. Boom. Take the double team, split the double team. All of a sudden, Will Howard, instead of having a free green area, he's tackled within 2 yards. The reason why I had to show that is because what I want to bring up in terms of talking about this game is we can easily blame it on Ryan Day. We can easily blame it on Chip Kelly. Matter of fact is, Jeremiah Smith is so good. Emeka Egbuka is so good that they had cloud coverage over top of these receivers. And what I mean by cloud coverage is normally you'd have another safety or backer kind of shifted to that side of the field to cover more area on their side of the field. Jeremiah Smith is on the left side of the field, maybe at the backer, safety, shifted to the left. And why would that matter? Well, it matters because we just showed you the numbers game will tell you that, hey, you should run the ball here because you have an advantage numbers-wise. Football is such a simple numbers game. If you have 2-on-3, you probably shouldn't throw it 2-on-3. If you have 6-on-5 on the line, you should probably run the ball. The reason why they couldn't throw that well, Will Howard probably had your worst day as a Buckeye. And I think you and I, before the season started, I think you and I would agree that Will Howard would be the reason that this Ohio State team doesn't reach their full potential. He's not like elite by any stretch of the imagination. I kind of felt like if Ohio State did lose, it would be because of Will Howard. And I don't even think it's fully Will Howard's fault this year. I think it's on the O-line. It's on maybe ego, a little bit of trying to attack the interior D-line of Michigan. They definitely should not have done that because that's their strong spot. You and I, when we think of Ohio State, what do we think of?
Elite quarterback play, great receivers, talent
Yep.
all across the board.
Yep.
You've got the advantage no matter where you look at it.
Exactly. We don't really think of, offensive line, defensive line, but we do think of receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks, and that's where your advantage should be. Okay, they cannot cover Jeremiah Smith one-on-one. You have to get him in one-on-one situations, and that's by either stretching the ball to the outside, running it, RPOs, all that kind of stuff. You can't just keep running up the middle and expecting this different result, okay? Because you didn't get that. Because then all of a sudden, he's going to throw into that cloud coverage, and there's 3 defenders there, and there should be 2. There's 3 now because there's Jeremiah Smith. All of a sudden, Will Howard, you're done. That's kind of my main takeaway from the game. I thought Ohio State gave this game away. Obviously, all credit to Michigan. They had a great game plan, okay, but I do think Ohio State lost this game rather than Michigan won it. Does that make sense?
I'd agree with that. I mean, you look at the multiple turnovers that they ended up having. The red zone interception really gave all the momentum over back to Michigan. Like I said, going back to the line of scrimmage, Michigan's run game. You know they're not going to throw the ball. Michigan has never been good at throwing the ball. This offense this year for Michigan, this is the only way that they could have won the game. Winning by the trenches, keeping the game ugly, and just don't even allow this Ohio State team just to feel free.
Yep.
Suffocate them. Fucking strangle them. And that's what they did the entire game.
Yep.
They had them in the chokehold. Bend, don't break. I give credit to Michigan. Everybody doubted you. No one had a single sight of hope that you were going to win this game. Ask Michigan fans. Not even the most confident Michigan fan was going to be like, oh, we're going to show Buckeye Nation what's up. No, they're like, damn, this is going to be a damn tough game. We're going to play our best game we've ever played in our lives. And guess what? They did. They went out, they fought, destroyed the line of scrimmage, took control of the game. And guess what? They played their brand of football. And Ohio State let them. Ohio State let them play their brand of football. Michigan's a lot better at playing their brand of football than Ohio State is better than playing Michigan's brand of football.
One of the padlock shots I had for this game, Ohio State had 77 total yards rushing. Their running back room has Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, and they only mustered up 77 total yards. I kind of wrote a question down here. I'm not sure what you think about it. I just put, is Ryan Day done? I mean, obviously, depending on the rest of the results of the season, is he done with Ohio State after the season?
No, I don't think so. I mean, granted, losing your rivalry game, the most important game you have every single year, that's going to be a big, big talking point. Have they made the Natty with Ryan Day? They made it once, right? The Natty with Ryan Day?
Yep,
Yes.
the 2020 COVID season.
Yep, and then they were a play away from the Natty, which is right where you would expect this Ohio State team to be. I don't think they necessarily underperformed at all. Against their biggest rival is where they've underperformed.
Yeah.
But if you look at what Ohio State has done overall, I mean, he's gotten the job done everywhere else other than Michigan, in my opinion. Granted, he hasn't gotten over the hump and getting that national title. Ohio State is Ohio State. Whoever you have at the helm there is going to more than likely be able to work with the talent that they get. No matter what, it's Ohio State. You're going to be getting the talent. You're going to have top-end coaches, top-end facilities. Great fan base, always backing you. If it goes on another year like this where he's not able to get the job done, they don't have postseason success to back it up. On top of that, then is when I think it becomes a question more so up in that athletic director office, saying, hey, is this really the right guy we want up here? Fans aren't liking him. Is the team still rallying around him? Is this the character that we need to lead this team? Is he the right guy for it? I'd say give it another year and see what happens.
I think part of it is just he hasn't had the quarterback.
Hasn't had the quarterback this year or previous year?
No, like the last few years, that's been truly like CJ Stroud level. Those are the guys that have beat Michigan. He just hasn't had that type of quarterback. And maybe that changes. Maybe depending on the transfer portal. Still an ugly loss for Ohio State. But I believe Ryan Day will turn the ship around. The game of the week, or at least in the Lone Star State, Texas A&M 17-7. Texas. Okay, you're frozen. We lost. Bang.
Bro thought I was gone. Keep going, go.
I wasn't even that far in.
Keep going, man.
No, how about you fucking keep here, bitch?
I tried to. My Ethernet cord's broken, man. Apparently, I gotta buy another fucking $50 cord. All right, ladies and gentlemen, game of the week. Texas dominates. Loosely dominates, I should say. Dominated the defensive front over Texas A&M, 17-7. What do you know, Coach? The thing that I told you that coming into the spring ball game would hold Texas A&M back all year, and their biggest game comes to fruition yet again this season. The offense of Texas A&M unable to do anything against an elite defense that Texas has. Defense shut out for what it's worth. As a fan, if you're coming in and looking at the what the post game stats look like, the final score, you see, oh, A&M held them to 17. Okay, they gave themselves a chance to win this game. No, they did not. A&M offense dismantled. The only way they could score is when Texas gave it to them. Other than that, this game was case closed from the beginning, man.
The top two running backs from Texas got hurt early in the year, or at least before the season started. Okay, now you're going to ask yourself, who the hell is starting for Texas at running back? Quintravion Wisner. Okay, listen, 33 carries. Okay, when's the last time you heard a back have 33 carries and caught the ball?
Aston Genty. Look,
Probably,
one thing to note. All I saw was this man on the bike on the sideline, huffing and puffing after his performance. Coach, what did he do?
186 yards rushing. Okay, Texas as a team had 243. Okay, so he had 3/4 of their rushing yards. Obviously, no Le'Veon Moss for Texas A&M. I thought the padlock stat, and this is very evident, especially in the first quarter, Texas A&M was 0 for 3 on fourth down. And that was evident from the jump because Texas A&M did go for it on fourth down. Texas 15 to start the game. They got stuffed, and it kind of just turned the tide from there. They didn't really get an offensive flow going until end of the third quarter after that. So it was all Texas basically all day. I thought maybe the best part of that game was probably the presentation. I was kind of mesmerized, just because like it's a game, it's a rivalry you haven't seen in 11 years, and you and I basically haven't really felt this rivalry yet. So it's like, how's it going to go? And of course, they tried to plant the flag after or do some stuff with the logo afterwards, which that's a whole other story. Steve Sarkisian stops that. So good on him, at least in my opinion. The passing offense of Texas needs a little work. Maybe just Quinn Ewers needs to stop throwing picks. The beauty of Quinn Ewers is that he has such a soft touch when he throws the ball. But also the downside of Quinn Ewers is that he has a soft touch when he throws the ball, because sometimes he throws it a little too soft, and then all of a sudden it's picked off going back to the house for 6. That was the only reason that A&M was in this game. Texas completely controlled this game. I thought from a line of scrimmage standpoint, Texas' defense might be the best in the country.
I've seen people talk about how Texas can just solely rely on this defense. If they get an A+ defense game, then their offense can play at a C-. I can kind of agree with that, but at the same time, it's not like they're playing against a B+ offense. This A&M offense, in my opinion, is just, they don't have the playmakers. They don't have the ability to create on that offensive side of the ball. Wherever I looked at it, they don't have that. I see people talking about, well, Texas play great defense. You can play decent offense. You're going to win the game most times. I think against most teams, that's truth. That's the truth. But as we get into the playoff discussion, as we get into the playoffs here, I completely disagree. It ain't always going to get the job done. That offense is going to have to start to pick up the pace if they really want to challenge themselves to actually win the national title this year. And the story of the past couple of weeks that you and I have talked about is like, hey, what is this Texas offense going to do? Is this the week that they're going to finally break through the barrier that they've been held to? And every week it's been no. So I think the real statement is that this is the Texas offense. This is what we're going to get out of Texas offense. Maybe it's not their peak. This is what your average Texas game is going to be.
I got a couple things, okay? Number one, sometimes I think Sark gets a little too cute with the play calling. Like he'll do some like boot tight end screen that, it's a little unnecessary. Like I get it. It's supposed to fake out the eyes of the defense. But sometimes it's maybe not set up yet, or it just doesn't need to be that much. And I feel like you'd be better off with less sometimes. I do wonder, being that Arch was replaced with Quinn in that Texas game in Austin, I do wonder if they go back to Arch maybe in the SEC title game. Maybe if things aren't going well, like end of the first quarter, it's, a 2-score game, 3-score game, whatever. I do wonder if they go back to Arch and maybe stick with him, and that might be, Quinn's final time in Texas. A couple other things for Texas A&M, though. They did get a 5-star offensive tackle this week with a 5-star wide receiver. Like you and I were talking about during the game, if A&M just got like a legit quarterback, they could be easily title contenders. And I'm not talking about just SEC title, because I believe they'll be those kind of contenders for a while, at least with Mike Elko. They just need Marcel Reed to either develop, or they need to find a transfer quarterback that's going to get them where they want to go ASAP. Because they have a defense. They have a running back. If he wasn't hurt, they had a running back. They need weapons on the outside, and they need a quarterback that can get the ball to the receivers.
I agree completely. Like I said at the beginning of this season, all this team is missing is playmakers on the offense. They don't have the quarterback that's at that level there where they can be like, oh, we'll rely on this guy, let him do his thing. They don't have the playmakers outside for the quarterback that they do have to become capable of making those plays.
Moving to the ACC, two teams that are both not in the ACC title game. That is correct. Miami is no longer a part of the title game because of their loss to Syracuse, 42-38. Shootout of a game. The Orange started down 21-0 to start the game, which is kind of in opposite fashion for Miami, because usually they're the team that starts down early and then they come back and win the game. I don't know. For me, it's like this Miami team doesn't deserve to be in a playoff or in an ACC title game because they don't play defense. Okay? If you rely solely on Cam Ward, it's just not going to be it for you. Okay? I'm about to start a narrative. Okay? So this narrative, this Miami Hurricanes team got a running back this summer by the name of Damian Martinez, okay, from Oregon State. I want you, and I want the rest of the people watching, you're going to guess a number in your head. What is the highest amount of carries that he had in one game this season? Close. The answer is 16. Okay? He has carried the ball for a max 16 times in one game. And that was a blowout loss. We lost Cody again. But that is a blowout win, I should say, against, I believe, Cal. Damian Martinez had 10 carries for 84 yards in this game. Okay? They gave him the ball 10 times. He averaged 8 yards per carry. And they decided, we're not going to give you the ball anymore. All of a sudden, clock management matters. Now we understand that Mario Cristobal has an issue with clock management.
I'm ready for it.
Okay?
I'm
Because
here
if
for
you ran the ball more, you control the clock, you control the line of scrimmage, all of a sudden you're going to win the game. You give it to the freaking running back that's good. Damian Martinez is a good running back. He's a junior. When I went to ESPN and I looked at this guy's stats, he touched the ball less this year than he did in his freshman year at
All right,
Oregon State.
I'm going to
He
take.
caught the ball more
This feels
in
crazy
passing
that this is the
situations, but
first number that just
overall,
popped into my head.
total,
I'm going to go with
he
13.
carried the ball less and he caught the ball less.
Okay.
than
I
he
was going
did
to
at
say, if
Oregon
it
State.
was
What
13 or
was the
lower,
point of
Lord
bringing
have
him
mercy.
here if you weren't going to use him? Because you got some good receivers, and maybe that offense could kind of hide the fact that your defense doesn't have good DBs. Okay, if you could use your running back, use your line, use your receivers, but you did not use your running back to his fullest capability. And this is kind of what pisses me off about Miami. Other than the fact that their defense sucks, they don't deserve to be in a playoff. They don't deserve to be in the ACC title game. They underutilize their personnel. They don't know how to clock manage. That's
Yes,
the
he
end of
does.
the Miami rant for today. Syracuse, number one, Kyle McCord, baller. Okay. I remember reading a comment on Twitter after the game. And no, it was on Discord. And the person said, all McCord does is just throw it up to his receivers. He's not that good. My brother in Christ. How does the ball get there in the first place? That's number one. It's a back shoulder throw. He had like a ton of like fade route throws, back shoulder throws. Just he also has good receivers. Okay. Fran Brown, the coach there, elite. He said after the game, thank you, Clemson. Clemson, SMU are playing for the ACC title game. Having the guts to come back down 21-0. The fact that you are not playing for anything other than just spoiler for Miami. I mean, you and I, we kind of talked about it before, like Syracuse, they had an easy schedule this year, and maybe it kind of turned out a little bit tougher for them because of some teams playing up, like Duke, finished 9-3. FSU, if they were any good, that would have been a good game, but they're not. Georgia Tech, Pitt, all those teams that are decent. I thought Fran Brown did a great job. He's obviously the assistant coach, Kirby Smart, the DB coach, so that tells you why Syracuse's DBs were really good. Miami didn't deserve to win this game, and they didn't. Miami led in time of possession, rushing yards, and total yards, and still lost this game. You did not run the ball enough, like we talked about before. Okay, I'm in real life frustrated that they did not run the ball more, because they would have won that game if they did.
This just feels like what the Miami program is. Like, I expected something like this to happen with Miami. The way that this program has been for the past 15 to 20 years has been the same story, even when they've been good. 2018, 2019. When they had that elite defense. Same thing. Fall apart in the most important moments of the season. Miami can never finish a season out strong. I don't know what it is, what's going on with this program, what happened in 2004 and before. What is preventing Miami from getting there? You've got the talent, you've got the coaching, you literally got the players. You don't got the stadium, but you got everything else. Everything you could possibly need in a program. It lacks development. It lacks culture. True culture is what I think is what it's missing in Miami.
Moving on. This is our game of the week. South Carolina at Clemson. Clemson somehow manages to lose this game. 17-14. Okay, and that somehow reason was actually a quarterback by the name of Lenore Sellers, probably the best running quarterback in the SEC, maybe the best overall quarterback in the SEC at this rate, because Quinn Ewers has been bad. Carson Beck throws a pick every 4 passes. Okay, Garrett Nussmeier, you're bad. Maybe the best quarterback in the SEC. I don't have stats for this game. I just watched this game. I literally watched highlights earlier today. And I told you, he's literally got escape artist, a badge from Madden. You got escape artist because this brother he's literally almost down. He's like hunkered over, and then all of a sudden he scampers out 16 yards, touchdown, win the game. South Carolina not going to get into the playoff. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But an impressive end to their season, 6 straight wins. They still have a bowl game, obviously. I don't know. I think this leaves a lot on the table for next year, especially Lenore Sellers only being a freshman, which is insane because he's got so much room to prove in terms of passing. But he's an elite runner. Clemson, not really much to say on Clemson. I thought they played their heart out. They will go to the ACC title game because Miami lost. So technically, they still have a shot for the playoff.
It's crazy how South Carolina, who won this game, doesn't have a chance to make the playoffs yet. Clemson does.
Your boy over here predicted South Carolina by 3. It's going to sound so terribly said as analyst, but Lenore Sellers saved them. I mean, honestly, Clemson had them sacked. They literally had him at 3rd and 16. You need a touchdown to win the game. I think it was like a minute 16 left. Lenore Sellers scampers out 3rd and 16, runs for a touchdown. Kate Klubnik comes down. They throw a pick. The score is as close as it is because it's not like both teams were bad. You know what I mean? It's not like it was Iowa, Nebraska. Both teams were bad. One just comes away at the end. No, it was both teams have good defenses. Both teams have good offenses. And they're just duking it out. Obviously, the turnovers mattered. Kate Klubnik, interception at the end. Lenore Sellers threw that interception. I kind of thought maybe Clemson takes over from there. They didn't. You can't really talk bad about Clemson because Clemson is still in it. Clemson still has ACC title hopes. Clemson still has playoff hopes.
As much as I hated on Clemson, this is my last point. To all the Clemson fans out there, I know I was hating on you guys. I know I was giving you guys a rough time. But deep down, this Clemson team, if they can make the playoff, if they can win that ACC title game, I got faith in Clemson. Depending on how that matchup goes, depending on who they get matched up with, but I think this is a team that could surprise a couple of teams coming into the playoffs.